looking for Dan Ballard. How about you, ma'am? Can you tell me where I can find Mr. Ballard? I'm a friend of Dan's.
Oh, you might try down it. Would you like a glass of cold barley water? That man's eyes, frightening.
Howdy, miss. You know Dan Ballard?
Yeah, I might. What's it to you?
Where is he?
He's taking good care of himself at a nice, soft spot.
Speak up. Where'll I find him?
Cool off, mister. Why don't you come down to Taggart's for a drink? You'll find me there.
Yankee Doodle. Just practicing the parade.
Hey, strangers, come for the picnic? Right nice of you fellas to help us celebrate the 4th.
Where do I find Ballard?
Dan? If you ask me, Dan's right busy just about now.
Where is he?
Ballard's over to Zachary Evans' house.
Where's that?
You turn left back at the crossing there. You can't miss it. Biggest house around these parts.
You shouldn't have told him.
Why not?
Gunfighters, if I ever saw any.
Friends of Ballard's, if you ask me.
That must be the place. Looks like they got company. Now, don't let Ballard get the drop on you. Remember, he's faster than a sidewinder.
Friendly strangers are welcome in Silver Lode.
I'm looking for Dan Ballard.
Mind if I ask why?
Who are you?
Name's Woolley. Job is sheriff of this county. What do you want with Dan Ballard?
I want to see him dead.
I'm all right, Mitch.
Dan Ballard, I've known you only a short time. Yet you're as much a part of our town as our oldest settler. I've known Rose since she was a little girl. The joining together of you two young people is the happiest task of my ministry. Come along, let's proceed. Places, everyone. Places.
Oh, but you're not...
Take a look at these, Sheriff.
If you will take the bride's hand in yours. Do you, Daniel Ballard, take Rose Evans to be your lawful wedded wife? To have and to hold, to love and to cherish, for better or worse? In sickness and in health, till death?
Hello, Ballard. Remember me?
I remember you, McCarty.
It's been 2 years. Well, Sheriff, looks like I found the right man.
See here, mister, if this is your idea of a wedding joke.
It's no joke, Mitch. I'm sorry, Rose. Zachary, This is United States Marshal McCarty. He has a warrant for Dan's arrest.
Dead or alive. The government doesn't care which.
Last time I heard of you, McCarty, you were on the run for rustling cattle.
A cattle rustler doesn't get to be a United States Marshal. And an innocent man doesn't run away. I swore I'd find you, Ballard. I figured you'd be carrying a gun.
What's the charge?
Murder.
Dan, I don't believe it.
If you're a marshal, show your credentials. Thad, Look those over.
Sure, Dan, sure. Well, Dan, as a lawyer and as a friend, I advise you not to say anything that can be held against you. These seem in perfect order.
You're my prisoner, Ballard. Try to escape if you want. It'll make it easier for me to gun you down like you did my brother. In the back.
You're a liar.
Let him have it, McCarty. Let's get it over with.
Well, shooting a helpless man is murder.
Believe me, he isn't worth the trouble. I see you've made a lot of friends, Ballard. Probably bought your way with the money you stole from my brother.
I've known Dan for 2 years. He's one of the finest men I've ever met. I'm proud to call him friend.
My brother was a fine man, too. He left a young bride like her. Go on with your wedding, Ballard. Then you can leave a bride. Unless the young lady's changed her mind.
I haven't changed my mind. We're ready, Reverend Field.
We better postpone the ceremony, Rose.
Go on with the wedding, Dan. You remember the family, Dan.
You see, nothing has changed.
In sickness and health,
Reverend
till
Field,
death.
you'll have to wait.
It's your wedding, Ballard. Or should I say funeral? It's a long ride back to Discovery. Get moving.
You can't take him like this. There must be something you can do.
Easy now, Marshal. He's entitled to a hearing. I'll see Judge Cranston and apply for a writ of habeas corpus.
You stay here, lawyer.
Aren't you exceeding your authority, Marshal?
I said stay here.
Pa, you stand by Dan.
Go on, Thad. Go see Judge Cranston.
I've wasted enough time with you and your interfering friends. Get moving.
Move! Have you no concern for human life?
An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That's in the Bible, Reverend.
But I say unto you that whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek, turn to him the other also. That's in the Bible, too.
Get moving, Ballard.
You can't believe Dan is guilty.
That Marshal seems to know more about Ballard than we do.
After all, we've known him only 2 years.
I'm sure Dan can explain.
Then why didn't he, dear?
You know why I'm here, Ballard. Talk or you'll be dead in an hour.
There's no reason for this indecent haste.
Marshal, I respect your authority, but I must insist you wait for Judge Cranston's answer.
When a judge makes up his mind, send someone after us. We'll be on the way to Discovery. If you don't want to walk or be dragged, tell one of your friends to lend your horse.
All right, now, wait a minute. Hold it, Kurt.
Are you gonna clear the way, Sheriff, or do I have to?
Dan, no matter how we feel about this situation, the Marshal here does represent the law.
If you can keep those peace officers from shooting up the town, I'll go over to Gifford's and get my horse.
Now you're making sense.
Take it.
Put the gun away. We'll handle it legally.
What do you want me to do, Dan? Just tell me.
When you kill one man, it's not so hard to kill the second. The third one's easy.
Doggonest wedding party I ever did see.
Yeah. Looks like Ballard's past has come to town.
All of you, go on home. I'm telling you to go home. You're just asking for trouble.
In our town, people are used to going where they like.
Ring the bell, rouse the town.
away.
Not if I can help it.
They stand for murder.
Considering Ballard came to town 2 years ago looking like a saddle tramp, he's done all right for himself. Latched onto a ranch, latched onto the richest girl in town.
Rumor is around that Ballard shot the Marshal's brother in the back.
Well, looks like the honeymoon's in eclipse.
Dolly, you're either plain jealous or just plain mean. Whatever it is, Dan, we're with you.
Right or wrong, we'll see you get a fair trial.
We should have continued the ceremony, Dan.
It's better this way.
Well, we'd be married, and I'd be your wife then.
A widow.
Thought this was Dan Ballard's wedding day.
Looks more like a funeral.
Yeah. Might have to bury a stranger. 4 strangers. Hometown hero.
We're gonna have more trouble than we expected. You're being paid to do a job. We're the law, remember? If anybody starts anything, shoot to kill.
You hinted you might have trouble bringing your prisoner in alive, Marshal. So I swore in a posse to make sure he doesn't escape.
We're with you, Marshal. All the way to discovery.
What goes on here, Dan?
Boy, get Ballard's horse.
You got legs, mister.
Go on, Tom. Saddle my horse.
Hurry up.
It's a hot day, mister.
Go on, kid.
Daniel, the Williams sisters and I have appointed ourselves as a delegation on your behalf to counsel with you along the way, to intercede for justice.
Now, look here. This Dan Ballard may be a hero to you, but to me in the law, he's nothing but a murderer. Get your horse, Ballard.
Thanks, Tom.
Dan, some of them seem to think... Why didn't you explain?
Didn't do any good, Rose. I did kill his brother.
But you called him a liar.
When he said I shot him in the back. Try and trust me, Rose.
I don't have to try, Dan.
Very touching. Now kiss the lady goodbye and we'll start moving.
A man comes to a wedding, seems you ought to have a shave. Me and the boys feel like doing a little barbering, Dan. What about it?
Can't shoot a marshal.
It's happened.
This man's accused me of murder.
No.
I thank all of you for standing behind me, but I don't want anyone hurt. Thad Taylor's over the judges now asking for a hearing. The marshal shouldn't object if his warrant's in order.
Dan, you're right. We'll make the marshal wait.
Sheriff Woolley, this man shot my brother in the back, stole $20,000 from him, and rode out. Now, why don't you call me a liar, Ballard?
Call him a liar.
We're behind you, Dan.
Dan did deposit $20,000 in my bank the day he arrived in town. I wonder if he
I'm taking my prisoner. Get out of my way.
Give us the word, Dan. We'll gun him.
Your move, McCarty.
This citizen wants his rights. All right. No law officer should let his personal feelings run away with him. If I've been overzealous in my duty, I apologize. Sheriff, where does the judge live? I'd like a few words with him.
Right down the street. I'll take you.
Dan, I was so worried.
I was, too. Not only for Dan. I thought there was going to be a massacre.
Still could be.
Dan, you didn't shoot anyone in the back, did you?
No, Tom.
If you did, I'd never believe in anyone again.
You haven't made any denials. Just what do you expect from Judge Cranston?
Time, sir.
I appeal to you, Judge, not only as a lawyer for his client, but as a man for his friend. Now, we will admit that Dan Ballard may have erred grievously in the past. Who amongst us is without a blot on his escutcheon? But this alleged crime was committed in another state. And all I plead for is a stay of extradition, for enough time to communicate with the authorities at Sacramento and verify the seriousness of Marshal McCarty's charges.
Thad, you're a rascal. Every time you defend a client in my court, I have to sit back and listen to you wind the jury around your eloquent little finger. But I'm not the jury. This warrant has a language more eloquent even than yours. I'm afraid I can't grant you a writ of habeas corpus. Come in.
Judge Cranston, this is Marshal McCarty from California.
How do you do, Marshal?
Fine, Judge. But I find it hard to convince the citizens of this community that there's anything on the books but mob law. I thought perhaps we could discuss my problem quietly and without the aid of legal counsel.
Would you mind, Thad?
No, not at all, sir. I have the deepest respect for your judgment.
Sit down, gentlemen. Marshal?
No, thanks.
Sheriff?
Thank you.
Well, Marshal, what's the problem?
I rode into this town with a warrant for Dan Ballard's arrest. My problem is making it stick.
Well, has there been trouble, Sheriff?
Well, Judge, it does seem that Dan's friends have had considerable resentment to the marshal here. But being the 4th of July and Dan's wedding day and all, you can see why they got kind of out of hand. A little, that is.
My job's a dirty one at times, Judge. I don't like busting in on a wedding ceremony or a 4th of July jamboree any more than I'd want somebody busting in on me. But I've ridden 200 miles to get Ballard. And it just happens I connected with him today.
200 miles in the saddle seems rather odd with railroads available.
Well, my trail led me through places that are far away from the railroads. And Ballard cut a cow path from Discovery to Silver Lode.
This warrant is for a murder committed in California.
And for the theft of $20,000.
You're unusually zealous. Is there a personal factor involved in this?
The murdered man was my brother.
Oh, that's most unfortunate. The possibility of vengeance presents itself. How do you propose to transport your prisoner?
We'll go back the way we came, in the saddle.
But an accident in the trail might defeat justice.
There'll be no accident on the trail, Judge. I'm riding with them.
No, it's a matter for the courts. Perhaps it might be better if I refuse to waive extradition.
Are you gonna do that, Judge?
I don't know.
But mine's a federal warrant.
But a California murder charge isn't necessarily a federal matter.
But the theft and transportation of $20,000 is.
Yes, it's quite true.
It looks bad, Dan. I wasn't able to get anywhere with the judge.
Wait, let's shoot our way out.
Don't touch that gun.
Put it away.
Ballard, you know Judge Cranston. He has a few things to say to you.
Dan, I'm sorry about this. I've always believed in you. It's taken a long time to build law and order in this town. We can't throw it over now. Marshal's papers are all in order. You'll have to go with him.
Give me 2 hours, Judge. 2 hours.
Get going, Ballard.
What do you say, Dan?
Dan, I don't want any of our people dead in the streets.
When a man's life is at stake, 2 hours is such a short time.
Stalling won't help you.
Judge, I appeal to you in the name of the people of this town. Can't you order a stay?
No, I can't order it. But I can suggest that you do.
In the name of decent humanity.
All right. You've got 2 hours. But if you make one false move, I'll kill you. For 2 hours, Sheriff, I'm sure these good citizens will mind their own business. And we'll mind our own. And, Sheriff, if you still think that I need help, I'll be leaving with my prisoner in 2 hours. You haven't much time, Ballard. You may as well make the most of it. Well, Sheriff, looks like law and order is back in control.
Law and order, he says.
I'm not going back to Discovery.
Those men waiting like vultures.
They try to take you. I'll be right with you.
Look, Mitch, go over get Paul Herbert. Tell him to open up his office. Hurry.
Right.
We're so fond of Dan, we're inclined to forget that we don't know very much about him.
Yes, it'd be easy to have doubts, wouldn't it, Prescott? Then I wouldn't have to do anything for him.
Take care of the horses. I'll handle this.
Little here wants to buy my ranch.
Oh, but you can't sell the ranch. It's going to be our home.
Dan will need the money to hire a lawyer. 10,000. Cash.
Get back to the barbecue, Walt. Stop looking for bargains. Dan's a long way from being licked.
Now, Dan, what can I do for you?
I have 2 wires going to Discovery, California. First one going to Sheriff Tom Harper. Second one going to Willie King, care of the Discovery Gazette. Same message in both.
Got him?
Fred McCarty here in Silver Lode claiming to be U.S. Marshal with warrant for my arrest. Wire confirming or denying the above. Signed, Dan Ballard.
Why don't you send a wire to San Francisco? That's where the federal marshals are listed.
You picked a good day. National holiday. All the federal offices are closed.
Tough.
Send the same wire to the U.S. Marshal in Frisco.
When you're through, I want to send a message.
When I'm through.
No hurry.
What's the matter?
Wire's dead.
Wires have been cut, haven't they, McCarty?
Stop it, Dan.
Didn't you ever have trouble with the wires before? Wind blow them down or cattle barge into a pole?
Yeah, but...
Then you know how to fix it.
Well, if there's miles of wire, I'll miss the picnic.
You don't want them to take Dan, do you?
Of course not. I'll get my gear.
Rose, Dan, they're waiting for you at the school. You promised you'd be judges.
It might be better if just Rose came. Well, Dan, some of the mothers, that is, well, under the circumstances, we have enough judges.
I see.
Not all of us feel like she does.
I'm not going without Dan.
That's all right. I've got some business to attend to.
But...
Don't worry. Mitch will be with me and the sheriff and Marshal McCarty.
Come on, dear.
Have a drink with me, Sheriff?
I never drink on duty, Marshal.
What'll it be?
Whiskey.
Hello, Mitch. Glad to see you, Dan.
Hey, where's your funny bone, mister?
Get Dolly for me, will you?
Dolly.
Don't go away. I got another.
Good, Dolly. See you later.
Well, hiya, Marshal. I see you made it.
What do you want? Well, if it isn't the groom himself, all polished up and very pretty. Aren't you afraid to be seen with me? People might remember we used to be seen together a lot. Thank you.
I need your help, Dolly.
Yeah, you must. To come slumming on your wedding day.
Drowning man grabs at straws.
Straws?
Those 3 men over there. They're supposed to be deputy marshals.
Supposed to be? Oh, I get it. And you want me to give them the business, is that it?
I want you to help me buy one.
Look, friend, you've made your choice. I can't say I blame you for latching on to the richest girl in town. But let her help you. For what it's worth, the one in the end, Johnson's the weak sister. I know men. And will agree I do. Right now, he's wishing he was somewhere else.
Can you get him out of here?
Ha! Get him yourself. You used to be very persuasive.
I thought you were through with her. What are you trying to do? I'm playing a long shot. Whatever McCarty's paying you, I'll double it.
You trying to bribe a United States Marshal?
$1,000 to the man who talks.
Where to now, Mr. Ballard?
The courthouse.
I'll be there. Johnson, you worry me. The way Williams used to worry me.
I need another drink.
Watch, Johnson.
What rights McCarty got hounding Dan?
Offhand, I'd say a legal right.
So he's got you buffaloed, too.
Nobody's got me buffaloed. And nobody's starting any trouble.
Johnson.
Hey, Joe, I'll be right back.
Where do you think you're going?
To the courthouse to hear the speeches.
When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political plan which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth, to separate.
Really, this is so uncalled for, interrupting the speaker.
I'm sure Mr. Ballard didn't intend to disturb us. Continue with your speech, Clarice.
When in the course of human events, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to.
I'm sure Miss Dolly didn't intend to disturb us.
That's all right, Clarice. I'd feel the same way if I had to speak before a crowd of murderers, outlaws, gunmen, and, I don't want you to speak, Clarice. We're going home.
No place for innocent children.
What in the world did our town coming to? My son's got a good speech, and I want him to give it. Let's not make accusations we can't prove.
Where's Ballard? You're in this. Where is he?
Now, Marshal, don't tell me you lost your man.
Sheriff, you better warn these people they're aiding and abetting a criminal. Johnson! Johnson! So that's it.
Easy with the gun. You got something to tell me?
Enough to hang McCarty. But it'll cost you $5,000.
It's a deal.
For cash? When? Where?
Livery stable. Half hour. You're too late, McCarty. Your bird dog caught up to me.
Who you calling a bird dog?
All right, Ballard. Outside. Don't get the wrong impression, folks. Ballard wasn't trying to run away. Like he says, he's innocent. He was just looking for a quiet place to think. That's right, isn't it?
Ballard sure don't act innocent.
He's probably trying to think up some cock and bull story to tell Judge Cranston.
Sheriff, we must let Ballard keep on trying to prove his innocence. I wouldn't want anybody in town to have any doubts. And where are we going now?
I'm going to take Miss Evans home. Go on with the speeches, folks. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Did you ever hear the fable of the interfering cat?
Yeah. She hated rats.
How much did he offer you? You haven't got the guts. Boys, we got a hero in our midst. Yes, sir? When Ballard tried to escape, Johnson here stopped him single-handed.
Well, what do you know?
Wicked, take him over to Tiger's Saloon and buy him a drink. This hero stuff makes a man thirsty and nervous. Like it did Williams, remember? Kirk, you come with me. The Evans house has got a back and a front door.
What goes on between Dan and that creature, I'd like to know. The nerve of her coming here amongst respectable people.
You call yourself respectable?
I certainly do.
Then I'm certainly glad I'm not.
Mrs. Elmwood, a little charity at this time would be
Is it
appropriate.
charity or blindness, Reverend, to forget that Dan's brought the threat of bloodshed to this town?
If he was truly innocent, he would have left with a volunteer posse instead of trying to stir up a riot.
Reverend, I'm afraid some of your flock need delousing.
I'm not going to have my son killed and let an innocent man be shot down in cold blood.
Zachary, you're acting like a child.
If Dan has to leave for discovery, I'm riding with him. I'm taking Mitch's place.
In all my years in the legal profession, I've never heard of a marshal being escorted by friends of the prisoner.
In all my years as a frontiersman, I've never heard of a marshal like McCarty. He's a mad dog, Thad, a killer obsessed with one idea, his hatred of Dan.
If anyone's obsessed, it's you. This determination to protect Rose and Mitch from reality is...
Dad! Oh, you won't need that gun. No one will.
And Dan won't have to leave town.
Look, what have you youngsters cooked up now?
Tell them, Dad.
I just had a talk with Johnson, one of McCarty's deputies. Seems there are a good many reasons why McCarty should hang.
I know it. I told you that.
It'll cost a lot of money to make him talk.
Any amount. How much do you want?
5,000.
That's worth the price if his evidence vindicates you. You better take your arm away if you want Dan to have that money.
Dan, if what you're attempting doesn't work, you'll just be hanging yourself.
It's gotta work. McCarty's got a noose around my neck now.
It's more like my neck.
Why yours?
For obstructing a United States Marshal.
He's not a marshal.
His papers say he is. Dan, drop this scheme or I'll have to jail you.
30 minutes ago, Dan could have called for lynching. People would have been killed.
Willie, you owe me a few favors. I want Dan to go through with his plan. Is that clear?
But if anything goes wrong, I'll be responsible.
If Johnson doesn't talk...
He'll talk. If I can get him away from the others. Hold McCarty here as long as you can. Then get over to Judge Cranston's. I'll meet you as soon as I get the evidence. Come on, Judge. Hold it.
You can't get past him, Dan. I'll go out and distract it. You take my gun.
No, put it away. Stand by here. When I give you the nod, open that door fast.
Marshal's coming in now.
Where's my prisoner?
He's with my brother.
Well, did you find him?
What happened to you?
Ballard, he jumped me.
You thought you were doing your friend a favor. Well, all you did was turn him loose so I can shoot him.
Not unless he shoots first. He's got my gun. You know how fast he is with one.
Johnson. What do you know about Ballard? What does anybody know about Ballard? He's only been here about 2 years. And what was he before that? And you can defend Ballard all you want. Sure, I know he hasn't packed a gun since he's been here. But how do we know what he used to do?
You ever ask him if he was a gunman?
Certainly not. I don't want to get shot.
Then you better shut up.
Drink up, Johnson. It's the 4th of July. Good a reason as any.
I better go see about the horses.
Horses are all right. Sit down.
Well, mine has a loose shoe. I better fix it. We'll be riding out of here in a little while.
All right, I'll go with you.
How about doing me a favor, huh?
Anything for a lady.
This little buzz has got us all confused about Dan Ballard. How about you setting us straight? Hey, fellas, the marshal here is going to give us the real lowdown on Ballard.
I heard this fella telling you he thought Ballard was a gunman. Well, if he wasn't handy with a gun, there wouldn't be 4 of us here to arrest him.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Well, as I hear it, he shot a guy over a poker game.
Maybe the guy was cheating.
No, boots on the other foot. Ballard did the cheating.
Go ahead, good looking. You're doing fine.
Well, there was 5 of them in the game. Stake was $20,000. Ballard come up with 4 kings. Well, this guy said he was cheating. Turned around to call the sheriff. Ballard drilled him right between the shoulder blades.
$5,000?
Count it. What am I buying?
McCarty's no marshal.
I'll need proof.
I can show you where we cut the telegraph lines.
Go on.
And the sheriff was Ballard's friend. So they called it self-defense and turned him loose.
And where does the marshal fit in?
Marshal? Oh, the marshal. Well, it took place up in Discovery, California. Fred McCarty heard about the shooting. You see, the dead man was his brother. Well, Fred got himself made U.S. Marshal and went looking for Ballard. But Ballard and the 20,000 vamoose to parts unknown. Took McCarty 2 years to locate Ballard. But in the meantime, gathered evidence, witnesses, got out a warrant, swore us in, and here we are.
Making a 4th of July speech, Wicker?
No, I was just telling...
Ballard been here?
Now, Marshal, don't tell me you've lost your man again.
Where's Johnson?
Well, he's right here. Say, he must have gone down the livery stable. Said he had to shoe his horse.
There's a man named Williams, buried in a ditch in California.
Yeah.
McCarty killed him. Williams is the one that forged the warrant, the credentials. McCarty didn't need him anymore. I'm next. I know it. I want protection. I got a wife and 2 kids. I want to live to see them again.
still.
Ballard! Come out or I'll burn you out!
If you open that door... Sheriff Woolley out there?
I'm here, Dan. And you're under arrest.
Hey, Sheriff, let Marshal McCarty handle this.
That's not a bad idea.
Get a hold of Judge Cranston. Johnson talked.
I'll get the judge.
We've got about 5 minutes. That ought to be enough. Wicker, watch the back door. If he tries to come out here, get him. Hey, this is my job, Sheriff. I know you're armed, Ballard. Drop the gun and surrender. You're resisting arrest, Ballard. Ballard just shot Johnson. I'm going after him. You came here to talk, Ballard. Make your speech. $20,000 worth. Come on, talk.
You know I won that money from your brother?
Yeah.
You know he drew first, too.
Yeah. You're not talking to a judge now.
I tell you, Ballard's a killer, or you ought to be lynched.
You be still.
Look, this is my town. Marshal or no Marshal, I'm taking charge.
I came here to make a deal or kill you.
Or both.
Don't you trust me?
What's the deal?
You're not that dumb. I want the money.
You can't put 5,000 head of cattle in your pocket.
You've done pretty well here. I'll trade your life for the spread. I like the way you live. I'd like to marry a pretty girl. Maybe your girl.
Don't do anything foolish, Dan. I've got him covered. Don't move, McCarty. I guess I've heard about enough to clean this thing up.
Get out of that loft or I'll let Ballard have it.
Hold it, fellas. Dan, open up. Judge Cranston's here.
Drop them guns, Ballard. Hold it, stranger. Point it down.
Send for the doctor.
You dead Ballard! You killed my husband!
And you wanted 2 hours for this?
No, Judge, no. These aren't my guns. This is Johnson's. This is McCarty's.
He's lying. He killed the sheriff and shot me.
Ask Johnson who did the shooting.
This man is dead.
And I suppose I shot my own deputy.
Why should I kill the sheriff? He was my friend. Look, I've lived with you people. I've dealt fairly with you.
Isn't my word good for anything?
There are 2 dead men here.
Man's got to believe his eyes.
We heard the shooting.
What have you got to say for yourself, Dan?
Speak up, man.
Yeah. Why'd you shoot the sheriff?
If you're guilty, Dan, you better give yourself up.
You're all a pack of cowardly hypocrites. Dan Ballard's never hurt any of you. And some of you owe him a lot of gratitude. Are you going to take McCarty's word against his?
We're sorry for you, Rose, but we've got to look at the facts.
I think we've horsed around long enough, don't you, Judge? Better let my deputies and me take Ballard out of here before somebody else gets hurt. Better surrender peacefully, Ballard. These good folks can't stand much more of you.
If a man shoots his friend, he don't even deserve a trial.
Help, Dan, help, Dan.
Stop it, Rose. You can't do Dan any good, and you might do yourself a lot of harm.
Dan, I've tried to help you. For your own sake, for Rose's sake. Don't cause any more trouble.
Better surrender, Ballard, while you still got the chance.
Don't move, McCarty.
Keep your hands up. I'm going out.
Move!
Kill him for what he's done to her.
It's what you've done to him that matters. You in this town.
Better have the doctor look at that head wound, McCarty. I'll take over.
Thanks, Judge. Bring him in alive, if possible. But bring him in.
Those wires fixed?
Say, what in the devil? Sure, they're fixed.
Did you send my messages?
I'm just getting back.
Send them!
Getting me a gun. Ballard's on the loose and killing everyone he meets. He just got Mitch Evans and the 2 deputies.
invited you in here.
Shut up.
Some nerve. Do you want me to get shot?
They don't want you. They're looking for me.
So you are a gunslinger. The whole town against you, those are tough odds. You're quite a guy.
Yeah. With lots of friends.
Like Mitch Evans? Afraid that breaks you up with Rose. Kind of permanent. Me, I'm different. I wouldn't care if you gunned my own man. Come to think of it, somebody shoulda. Stay here till it's dark. I'll take good care of you, honey. You'll be okay.
Dolly, open the door. Dan Ballard's hiding around here somewhere.
All right, so go find him. I'm busy.
I'm looking for Ballard.
Keep your nose out of my bedroom.
Who you got in there?
Nobody. He just went out.
Who was it?
I didn't get his name, but it wasn't Ballard.
Well, he's around here someplace. We'll let Marshal McCarty handle you. Come on, we'll find the Marshal.
Look, Dan, I can get you out of this jam.
How?
Tonight, after dark, I can get horses, steal some grub from Taggart. We can make a getaway and give this town the boot.
We? I'm not going anywhere.
If you don't, you're going to be a real dead cowboy. Oh, listen, honey, nobody else in this town wants to see you anything but dry-gulched. And that goes for Rose, too, since you gunned her brother.
You're all right, Dolly. I'm sorry it had to be this way.
How long do you think you're going to last on the street? Not long enough to say your prayers. And for what?
You're a woman. You ought to know.
For Rose, a girl with her pride isn't siding up with any gunfighter. With respectable females, a lot of things come before their man.
I'm sorry, Dolly.
Okay, Jughead. If you got to, I guess you got to.
Open up!
Who is it?
Marshal McCarty.
Go shine your star. I'm busy.
Are you gonna open up or do I have to bust my way in?
Yeah, just a minute, as soon as I get my dress on.
I'm coming in now.
Make yourself at home. You're sure impatient. For a big boy with a gun, you're in an awful hurry.
Where is he?
Where's who?
Ballard.
Well, look under the rug. I might have swept him there. We nailed it up to keep out the rats. Seems it didn't work. What do you think this is, a French farce?
If he isn't here, you know where he is. Tell me.
Real tough, aren't you? Go on, try it again. If I knew anything, I wouldn't tell you. So let's settle for that.
You got spirit. I like women with spirit. If I had more time, I'd...
It's all right now. Everyone's out front getting drunk on free liquor, so the place downstairs ought to be deserted.
McCarty could be inside.
Come on, I'll go ahead and take a look.
I'm getting my 44 now. I ain't used it in years.
I saw her hanging once, horse seat, dancing in the air like a Punch and Judy
You
show.
see the bullet holes in them two deputies? Right between the eyes. Man, that's what I call shooting.
I guess Miss Evans ducked. He only got it in the hand.
I said there ain't nothing bad enough for a man that shoots his best friend.
Well, looks like we need more glasses. Come on, Paul, give me a hand. Ain't you joining the party, Dolly?
Yeah, what's the celebration for now?
Started out for Dan Ballard's wedding. Now it's his funeral.
Don't tell me he's dead.
Not yet, but soon.
The man who gets him can add all Ballard's notches to his gun. Be a regular bad man.
And me frying my brains out in the hot sun, fixing wire for a stinking murderer.
Oh, your brains were fried before that.
You know what I think?
With what?
I think that Dan Ballard cut those wires himself. Oh, they were cut all right. I saw that when I fixed them. Yes, sir. He was bluffing when he asked me to send.
Send what?
The telegrams to Discovery.
Well, why don't you send them and prove his bluffing?
Oh, I don't have to send them. I know a bluffer when I see one.
Yeah, you should.
Hey, Paul, give me a hand with those glasses down at the end of the bar.
You know, your company's not going to like it when they find out you refuse to send.
Oh, I ain't supposed to send on the 4th of July. Only in case of an emergency. What's funny?
I was just thinking what your wife would say if she knew you were in here all alone with me.
I gotta get me a drink.
Thanks, Dolly.
So long, sucker.
Marshal, Kirk and Wicker are dead.
I know.
Listen to me, folks. Ballard can't get away. The roads are blocked, and I'm deputizing every man in this town. Go home and get your guns.
Marshal, men, listen to me. Mob violence is the death of any town. Let Ballard surrender.
You've seen what Ballard is. There's only one way to deal with him, and the sooner the better. We'll search for him house by house. Keep your women and children off the streets and stay sober. Tracking down a man like Ballard is dangerous, dirty work. Now get moving.
All right, come on.
Gotta get right down this way. Just a minute.
It's just a flesh wound. Keep it clean, keep it quiet. I'll look at it again tomorrow.
Come on, he's around here somewhere. Let's search the barn.
I'll get Ballard for this.
Stop it, Mitch. It was all your own fault.
Rose. How's Mitch?
He's all right. It's just a flesh wound.
I came to tell you how sorry I am.
I suppose you could have killed him. I ought to be grateful. Dan, why don't you give yourself up? Shooting and killing more people hasn't helped. And you haven't explained.
Give myself up. What chance do you think I'd have? You think anybody believed me now? You heard what the judge said. He said McCarty's papers were genuine. Even you seem to think that.
I've tried to believe you.
Rose, you've got to trust me. My only chance is to stay here till I can clear myself. I've got to get a hold of Paul Herbert. I've got to make him send those wires and sit on the telegraph keys till he gets an answer. I'm innocent, I swear. But remember, I've got to prove it.
do believe you, Dan. Please be careful.
I thought so. Haven't you done harm enough already?
I did what I had to do.
You've taken my daughter. You've tried to kill my son. You've destroyed the peace and quiet of a decent town. Now I'm turning you over to the law.
I'm leaving.
If you open that door, I'll kill you.
Don't move your gun, Mr. Evans, or it'll be your life. Now turn around. Walk into the other room. If you see McCarty, tell him I'm not here. Stall till I get away.
What was that shot?
I was cleaning my gun. Fired by accident.
Ballard's in there, isn't he? He's got you covered.
Hide in the barn. I'll send the doctor to you.
I've got to get to the telegraph office. Now everything depends on those wires.
You look tired, Rose. Better get some rest.
That's right. I'll rest while they hunt Dan down. Or maybe I'll doze a little while they kill him. Or until he has to kill Mitch or my father. Don't you doctors ever make sense?
Shoot to kill, Dan. You better surrender to me.
Hold your fire. I want you alive, Ballard. But it's your choice.
Stay where you are.
We're going to take a walk, Judge. Move.
Reverend, I'm going into your church.
To commit murder?
That's Ballard's choice.
He is unarmed.
Then tell him to surrender.
It's not for me to judge him.
No, I can take care of that.
I have faith that Dan Ballard wants only justice.
Don't go in there, Mitch.
An hour ago, Sheriff Woolley was alive. An hour ago, Wicker, Kirk, and Johnson were alive. 4 good men, family men. Now they're dead. But the maker of widows and orphans is alive and safe. Safe in there.
Dad, where's Paul Herbert?
Now, you go home, Rose. This is no place for a woman.
And it's no place for a man.
Step aside, Reverend.
Dan Ballard sought sanctuary in this church.
What sanctuary was there for those men that Ballard murdered? Come on. We're going in.
Please, let us restore order. There's vengeance and destruction in your faces.
We don't want any speeches. We want Ballard.
Look in there.
Let's stay out here. Then if he tries to escape, we can pick him off.
Paul, did you send Dan's messages?
No, and I'm not going to. I won't help a murderer.
He's not a murderer.
Do what the lady says, Paul.
How dare you talk to me?
What do you mean? I'll talk to you any place. Listen, you better send Ballard's messages or else your wife's going to find out a lot more than really happened.
It's not true. It's a lie.
Yeah, I know it is, but who'd believe you? Who'd believe Ballard? Come on,
Come on,
Paul.
let's hurry.
Not in there.
The back door?
Locked from the inside.
Marshal!
It's a trail of blood leads up the stairs.
I'll get him.
Oh, you won't. I waited 2 years for this.
Remember the commandment, thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill.
Oh, it's no use. I can't raise them.
Keep tapping, Paul. Keep tapping.
Oh, hurry, please, hurry. Hurry, Paul.
I can't do it. I tell you, it ain't legal.
Right or else.
Go on.
Wait a minute. I think if we...
Your friends are trying to kill you, Ballard. If you want to live, you better make a deal. I can still get you out of this.
I'll deal. What do you want?
The whole layout. Your land, your cattle, and your money.
You got it. How are you gonna get me through that crowd? There's gotta be a deed of transfer, you know.
I'll get us through. I'm still a U.S. Marshal. Now get around here. Let's get started.
Judge Cranston? Judge Cranston, read this.
McCarty, not what he represents himself to be. Wanted for murder and cattle rustling. Dan Ballard, innocent of charge.
You fixed it. But it won't do you any good.
McCarty was lying all the time.
McCarty, we're coming up.
guns. Hold your fire. He's got to come down this way.
Looks like they're waiting for you now, McCarty.
No matter what happens, I'll get you first.
That's it. Shoot them all. How many bullets you got left? 2, 3?
McCarty's dead. A bullet through the heart. But Ballard had no gun.
Bullet ricocheted off the bell. Killed him.
An act of God.
Dan, there isn't much that I can say. But I think I can speak for all of us. We're sorry.
You're sorry. A moment ago, you wanted to kill me. You forced me to kill, to defend myself, to save my own life. You wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't believe what I said. A man's life can hang in the balance. On a piece of paper. And you're sorry.
How do we know that telegram is real?
Oh, we'll all wind up in jail for this. You just can't fool around with government business.
Calm down, Polly. Unless you want your wife to find out what a gay blade you really are.
Yeah, and she'd probably believe you, too. Oh, what a mess a man can get himself into. Well, divorce or no divorce, I'm going out there and telling the truth. That those telegrams were fake, and that you forced me to write them. It's a message for Dan. From Sheriff Harper of Discovery.
Yeah, what does he say?
Fred McCarty wanted. Murder and rustling. U.S. Marshal on way to Silver Lode.
Hallelujah!